Hello, Brandon Steiner here. And, we got another version of Unplugged and another version of what else and another version of, I don't know. It's a Tuesday afternoon, New York City. A lot of stuff going on in the middle of summer. And I got a special guest, a friend. He could use a little help on his hoop game. I'm not going to lie. I've been working on him, trying to get his game up to another level. Ray Rice, how are you, my friend?
Always a pleasure.
It's good to see you. First of all, we were just talking about Duke. You ran into JJ Redditt at the Bahamas. First of all, being a hot free agent, you got a lot of money in Philly. But how do you look?
Yeah, I didn't realize. Basketball is just a different world. Guy was lean. Great family man. He was with his family, so you really don't, bother nobody on vacation with their family. But honestly, he looks like he's in great shape. It's always you marvel at seeing other athletes. I think we all always try to find out our edge in sports. And I think that after seeing him in person, you understand why he's been playing
as long as
he's playing. You can tell that the guy, not only does he take care of his body, but, you can see, like, when you're with your family, like, you can't fake the funk. Like, when you're with your family, he takes care of his body, he takes care of his family. And I think that whole kind of picture goes together in terms of longevity in sports.
What I love about JJ Redditt is, first of all, I asked him, I always ask athletes when I'm with them, what do you eat during a game? And, because I always think if anybody knows how to eat, it's a finely tuned athlete. And, it kind of made me laugh because I always have to have a Subway sandwich before I play in the afternoon. That's my snack. But you're burning those kind of calories. I guess you can get away with that. But he had that little routine. But what I love about JJ was at the Duke camp, Coach K's academy, one of the best adult fantasy camps you can go to. It's highly competitive. The whole Duke setup is amazing. Coach K is amazing. There's nothing else you could say. But anyway, we suck. We are horrible. And JJ's like one of our assistants. And thank God we got Jay Billis. Or maybe it was, what's his name? The guy who played for the Nets. Jay Billis. No, the tall guy, the center. He does some broadcasting. Anyway, we had the worst coach. He had to leave early. Thank God. We hadn't won a game. And JJ Redditt steps in. Now, what's impressive about JJ is he's shooting like 600 shots 3 times a day. This is when he was in Orlando, and that coach wasn't playing him, and he wasn't sure he was going to make it. And I don't know what was going on. I'm like, this guy's lights out. Remember, he was great in college. So anyway, we haven't won a game yet. We're playing the last game of the tournament. We haven't won a game. He gets in the huddle, and we had our number one pick. He was like a 6'5" tall guy, hadn't done anything, nothing. And he gets in the huddle and he goes, listen, I'm not calling no play. You get the ball to this guy. You get that ball and do not come back to this huddle unless you score and win this game. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to know from it. I'll leave out some of the language. He looks this guy dead in the eye. Do not come back to this huddle. You're our number one pick. You're our best player. Earn it. Go get it. Finish this game, and then we'll worry about the playoffs after this game's over. This guy was shaking. We're a bunch of old guys playing. This guy hadn't done shit the whole tournament. This guy goes, gets the ball from about half court, and just drives right to the basket and goes in. We win the game. And what I loved about JJ is the level of I just love that he shared that level of intensity, his passion. You could see it, and also in his workouts. It's one thing when you take 600 shots in a workout, not the way he was taking them, and then he was doing them like 2 and 3 times a day. Like a dog without a bone. Like maybe it was going to be his last shot. And you knew he was going to be special. He was special in college. The Dukies, it's hard to find anything wrong. They all play so hard. They all act appropriately. They just do all the right things. I'm jealous. I'm a Syracuse guy. That's not always the case, but I still love my Syracuse guys. You know that.
Yeah, it's something to be said for that. The work ethic. I think that the era what you talked about, with the work ethic, is just a different era today. We probably would have seen that kind of workout on social media or something like.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that that's his edge. I think his edge is like, what he's doing when no one's watching him. And I think that if every competitor, it's easy to turn on the lights. All right, I'm putting up 600 shots. Somebody's watching me. I really think the true identity of a person is who you are when no one's watching you.
You were an unbelievably hard worker in high school, college. I watched you. I coached over at the high school. You were constantly in the gym, hogging up all the weight room and everything else. But you're motivating the kids, though. Were you always like that since you were a kid? And where'd you get that work ethic from?
I think it was developed. It was actually developed. I think that over the years, I was always athletic. And I realized that, actually, when I played AAU basketball, this is when it really changed for me.
How old?
I started playing AAU basketball like 5th going into 6th grade.
That young?
Yeah. So
you must have been good.
Yeah, but that's when it changed for me. Like I didn't play basketball in Westchester County. I actually played basketball in Long Island. And to be honest with you, once I started to get into the New York City tournaments, I realized that, oh, these guys are really good. Like you can't just I can roll over and play out here, and it was nothing on, I wasn't high school collegiately, but I was actually like just more athletic than everybody. So when I started to play in them AAU tournaments, you go out to, IS8, you go out and play in those tournaments, and then you realize that, oh no, these guys do this for a living. That's when I actually started to develop a little bit of work ethic. I actually, be honest with you, I worked on my basketball game, and I think that because I played basketball, I was just extremely athletic enough to really be really good at football. And high school is when it all started to make sense.
If you're 4 inches taller, you may be putting all your eggs in the basketball basket.
Yeah, if I'm 4 inches taller, it's not even a question.
Because you were an unbelievable high school basketball player, but you thought there was limitations because of your height.
Yeah, I just thought. Honestly, I peaked like I was 5'8" in 8th grade. So usually guys hit their growth spurt, in high school.
Of course.
So I was actually a taller guy in 8th grade. And I didn't hit that growth spurt, but I mean, I was, I'm not bragging anything, but I was dunking a basketball. I was, had a legit vertical. I was doing everything I was doing on a basketball court. But in football, I was just that much more dominant, like, because, I think with the measurables and playing in, playing in Rochelle, and I was actually I played varsity in 9th grade. So
you played 4 years varsity.
Yeah, I played 4 years of varsity football, and I started some games as a freshman, but for my sophomore year on, I started all the way out. I just think that my competitor, my edge came from playing in 9th grade.
I got to ask you about 2 championship games. I mean, people always, move to the pros in college, and we got to talk about that a little bit. But first of all, the championship basketball game. When you're there, and you were playing against, was it Johnny Flynn and what's his name?
Paul Harris.
Paul Harris. You're playing Niagara.
Yeah.
You gave the guy a kiss on his cheek. I mean, true story, or is that just a wise tale?
Nah,
before the game started, when you were kind of just.
No,
kind of saying that's how close we're going to be over the next 40 minutes. Like,
no, there was no kiss on the cheek. But what it was like, because like I was playing against, them guys. I was known as the football guy already, but I was still a good basketball player then.
The star in New Rochelle was
Jeff McDermott,
and he went to
going to Providence for.
He was an assassin, great player.
Yeah, but I was known as the football guy. I was almost like the enforcer on the team then.
How great was that game?
It was a great game.
I mean, Paul Harris, Johnny Flynn, McDermott. You had 5 or 61 players on the court.
I'll tell you what made it a great game, to be honest with you. It reminded me of playing back in the AAU tournament, and you finally meet, someone that's just as good as you. It was the first time, like, I seen, like, Jeff McDermott, now he has to face Paul Harris.
Paul was jumping out of the gym in those days.
Yeah, but then it was like, okay, I seen myself as pretty athletic, and then I met a guy named Johnny Flynn, who was twice the athlete I was on the basketball court. So it was kind of like, I'll be honest with you, it's a humbling experience. Like there's always someone out there. I think that, one of the most humbling things in sports is that you have to appreciate and respect that there's always someone out there that, it's like your kryptonite. And if you're not preparing for that moment's going to come back to get you. And I'm playing against them too. Really made me realize that, we lost the game, but I always try to take something out of a loss. Like,
what'd you take out of that loss?
I took out of that loss that you got to prepare, like someone out there is always working harder than you. Someone out there is always chasing, or they're doing the same or more. You know, and that when you seen a Johnny Flynn and Paul Harris, and then you start to dig into their background, you realize they came from the streets just like me. You know, so they weren't going to back down from me.
No.
You know, so elbow to the rib, like, yeah, I was a physical guy in the basketball court. I got away with a lot of things. I wasn't saying I was playing football out there, but I think that, you know, physicality, you know, in sports is a part of the game. But, yeah, I'm running down the court, and I feel something get returned my way. I realize that we're going to be in for a dogfight this whole game.
And was that game a dogfight?
It was a dogfight. Listen, I remember blocking a guy's shot, you know, and I remember.
Because people don't see the jumping skill. They don't see you coming. And all of a sudden.
Yeah, I remember
boom.
blocking a shot, and then I remember saying something to a guy, and then I remember boxing out on the rebound. Usually I get the position. I remember elbow to the rib, you know, and it was like, wow. Like, I left that game sore.
Really?
And it wasn't like sore, like okay, I played a basketball game.
Is there anything better? I mean, you played in a lot of big games, bowl games, Super Bowl games, obviously NFL. Was that like? I mean, what was it like playing a state championship game? How
that was
how'd that feel?
Man, I wish we would have won, because then I could have said I was not only a, you know, football state champion, I would have also been a state championship basketball player.
And we got to talk about the state championship in New Rochelle, because they're still running that game up at Syracuse against
CBA.
How great was that game?
That game was great.
Now, the quarterback on the other team, do you remember who that was?
Yeah, Greg Paulus. Can't forget that name.
Greg Paulus, legendary Syracuse, Dookie guard.
Yeah, can't forget that
name.
And
the game was up and down the field. I mean, tell me about that game and how great that game was, because they're still playing replays of that game up at Syracuse, and people are watching it.
Only thing I remember I remember the whole game.
You remember the whole game?
I remember the whole game.
McDermott was your quarterback, right?
McDermott was my quarterback. I knew, like, for a fact, like, we were going to win that game. I felt like it. And then that was the first time, like, they had, first off, they're a big school. You know, we probably had 35 guys. Their offense didn't play defense. So Greg Paulus, if they ever had a 3-and-out, because the game was a shootout, he went to the sideline. He didn't play defense. You know, so meaning we had to chase, like, I'm going from scoring touchdowns, kicking the extra points, and then have to hit their guys on defense.
Where'd you play in D?
I played, like, strong safety. So, I mean, we went both ways. And we're not complaining. That's what we had to do. You know, we did it, you know. And
how good was Paulus?
Paulus was a beast. I mean, they had
Did he go the right direction? Should he just stayed in football?
To be honest with you, I thought he was a better football player.
You did?
I mean, Greg Paulus was in high school what we seen in Johnny Manziel at Texas A&M. That's what he was.
Wow.
Like, I'm not even like the compare.
You couldn't catch him.
He was like Johnny Manziel, if I'm not mistaken. He's not the tallest. And, you know, but Johnny Manziel can chalk up a lot of yards, whether it was running or thrown. And Greg Paulus was that athletic in high school. He would have been, had he went to Syracuse, whatever he went. I know he went back.
Well, everybody was after him. Went to Duke, then comes back his fifth year, plays for Syracuse.
He was Johnny Manziel before Johnny Manziel.
Remember the score of that game?
Yeah, 41-35.
So it was a lot of scoring. How many
did you
score?
I scored 3, and the reason I think we lost is because I sprained my shoulder, so I ain't play like the fourth quarter. I think I got hurt in the fourth quarter. I sprained my shoulder and I came out. It was actually my worst shoulder injury. It's crazy because I've never had any bad shoulder injuries. Like, you know,
was that
like
in the dome, by the way.
Yeah, it was in the dome.
Right?
Yeah, I sprained my shoulder at an AC sprain. First time for everything. You know. If put it like this, if it was in the NFL, I probably could have figured out a way to play.
Okay, I'll leave that there.
Yeah, but I mean, in high school, you don't know.
College, you go to Rutgers. I'm not going to start crying about the fact that, you know, you could have gone. You obviously, how many scholarships did you get? You had to be highly recruited, or not so much.
Honestly, I kept it small. You know, I'll be honest. I mean, you know, I got a lot of love for Syracuse. I think my love for them was like their staff. I was committed to Syracuse. I'm sure everybody know that. Paul Pasqualoni and that staff. You know, Coach DeLeon.
Yeah.
You know, those were, you know, close ties to, you know, New Rochelle for me with my high school coach. I really didn't want a circus of recruiting. You know, I really just thought that
Good play. Get your family up
Yeah,
there.
I just thought like
You know, mom is mom.
Yeah.
Mom's got to be at the games.
Yeah, I just thought like
Janay's got to be there.
That was a great play. I mean, I have nothing bad to say about Syracuse
To
University.
switch coaches and
I just didn't. Yeah, I got caught in the middle of a wash where, you know, I didn't want to be hosted by many people. I'll be honest.
So you go to Rutgers. Like, do you think how much of an impact on the Rutgers program do you feel you have from where you got there to the time you left? Because what a run you had at Rutgers, bowl games, they're building a new stadium. I mean, things like that. Do you think about that? I mean, the kind of impact you really had on that football program?
Yeah, it's funny. I actually was talking to an old teammate yesterday. His name was Kevin Malice, and you know, I had a dream and vision when I went to Rutgers. You know, I didn't want to just be another player. I think there's a lot of guys that just get caught into a wash, meaning that, you know, they go places and, you know, they go places to say, yeah, I went to that school, you know, I got drafted, this, that, and the other. I wanted to go be a part of a change, I'll be honest with you. I wanted to be able to, you know, establish something, establish my name, you know, and just like today, I mean, good, bad, or indifferent, you can't mention, you know, Rutgers football without mentioning Ray Rice. You know, and I take a lot of pride in that because, but that also comes with, you know, and you had great team. You know, I got a lot of the accolades, but I had a great, like, all of my offensive linemen, you know, played somewhat in the NFL, whether it was a year, a stint. You know, a lot of the McCourty twins are still playing.
Good players.
My best friend Courtney Green.
What was the key to that? What was the key to that? Because what was the key to turning that program around? Because you have so many so many schools that are trying to turn their football program around, like kind of what Rutgers in essence did. What's the key? What are the key ingredients of turning a football program on Division I around?
Having a great visionary, and I think executing that vision. I think Coach Shiano, I give him a lot of credit. He was a visionary.
How so? Like, I mean,
he was a bulldog. Like, I mean, a couple of examples of Shiano. Like, I came from a hard coach here in Rochelle.
One of the greats.
You know, and going to Shiano, you know, he if he wasn't harder, he was right there with, you know, with my high school coach. And I think that, you know, he had simple philosophies that made a lot of sense. You know, like TBA. You know, it was TBA meaning, you know, trust, believe, and hold each other accountable. Well, our team trusted each other. We believed in one another. And honest with you, just to be totally honest with you, Shiano didn't have to do a lot of policing us.
You policed each other.
And I think that's what makes teams special.
When they can take care of each other.
When the coaches can take care of football and the players can take care of each other. You know, and I think that's, I mean, be honest with you, look at what's going on in society. I'm no different. I'm not going to sit up there and but look in sports. Look at the great teams. I mean,
leadership.
If you it was a simple philosophy that won us a lot of football games. When the coaches get to do football and not have to police you outside of, you know, whether it's NFL or college, you could do a lot of damage. You know, and that's, I mean, and then there's recruiting. There's a recruiting aspect. I think that the way Shiano recruited was awesome. Like, we had a great mixture of great New York players.
You were probably a good recruiter, too.
Because the kids I probably hosted the guys really well.
You know what I'm saying? But you're like a fun-loving guy that's real. So, guys, you can get people, like, you know, you come to my gym, you're playing basketball. Guys are like, oh, you know, like, people, like, they love you. You're accommodating, you're a friendly, warm guy. Yeah. Where did you get that from, by the way? The warmth. Is that all your mom?
Yeah, I had to give that to my mom.
Yeah, I think you had to give your mom that props. I mean, it's because you really are. I mean, and I could see you, a kid doing the recruiting. Yeah. You're the star of the team, and you're like, oh, wow, that guy was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, we had a great mixture. Yeah. We definitely had a great mixture. Like, I'll be honest with you, we had the 3- and 4-star guys from Florida. We couldn't get, it wasn't like we were taking guys from Florida State.
Or Ohio State.
Or Miami or all of Florida schools. We got the guys that couldn't make it out there and end up being great players for us. And we had great New Yorkers. with a blend of jersey.
Was there one pinnacle game at Rutgers? I remember one game was like on a Thursday night.
Louisville.
That was the Thursday night game against Louisville?
I still watch it.
I was watching that game on JetBlue, so I got a catch. I was like, wow, you guys are good.
Yeah, we
beat them up, man.
They were number 3.
Was that a turning point?
Yeah, that was major turning point. They were number 3 in the country.
Empire State Building was red, dude.
Empire State Building was lit red. I ain't gonna lie, man. I remember riding down the turnpike, man. I was seeing Rice for Heisman signs on there now, and I'm like, this is real.
Oh,
but
it's
you
real.
know, I mean, certain things you go back to. I mean, I never thought I had a real shot at winning the Heisman, but after we beat Louisville, I thought I had a legit chance. I really
from
did.
The projects.
I really did.
I mean, did you ever think? I mean, you're rolling along. I mean, you got to think where you started. You're in the projects. Not a very good hand. I mean, things are a little rough. And all of a sudden now, you got NFL. You were talk of the town. This team, you particularly. That's a big jump.
Yeah. Well, I mean, be honest with you, that's
big.
It's a big story behind it. I think everybody has their goals and reasons for leaving school. You know, after my last collegiate game up in Canada, I came home from that game and I realized that, to be honest with you, once I realized I was living better than my mom, you know.
It bothered you? It
bothered me. I had to leave. You know, I could no longer see my mom struggle the way she was struggling. You know, I was sending home as good as I was in college, I think everybody, some people miss the defining points in people's life, and me leaving college was a defining point in my life. I really don't honestly think I was ready to leave school, but I know financially it was going to set my family up in a way where I don't know if I will ever see it again. You know, and that was probably a time where I probably should have got a little bit of help, to be honest with you, because I'm just a kid leaving college, and now I really got to take on these grown responsibilities, and it's just something where every athlete doesn't even understand, like, the decision you're making, you know, because you're only making it about one thing, finances. And I think that be honest with you, that was one of the defining moments in my life. You got to go back on those things. It wasn't like the projects was a bad place. It was a place where I had to grow up. You know, I'm not going to sit up there and say the projects was the problem. You know, all the problems that happened that landed us in the projects, you know, I couldn't control. But the one thing I had control of was getting my mom out of there. You know, and it had nothing to do with the people. It was more like, how was I, like, you know, I'm sending my Pell Grant checks home. I'm supposed to be buying, you know, stuff for myself, but I'm sending the money home. You know, any extra finances I got, I'm sending home. So I'm like, you know, I had sweatsuits in college. I didn't have a lot of clothes. I wore team issue gear. I ain't never really had to get dressed. I had 3 suits, chains, you know, so it was what it was. I mean,
it's confusing at best, you know, because there's you know, being and coming from a similar background, you know, things not particularly good in my childhood, you have to almost give yourself permission to go take that success that you've earned and worked hard. And it's not an easy transition. When you're used to not having a lot and all of a sudden you then have a lot, it's not easy. Even though it sounds easy, people are watching like, how hard could it be to have a lot of money, play in the NFL or big, but it sometimes could be a little complicated.
No, it's definitely, it was, I mean, when I go back on things, you know, I'm not blaming anything. I'm not blaming college, but I go back to that. I'm like, wow.
Maybe you should have stayed a little longer. I remember you coming over to my house after a Yankee game. I don't know if you remember this. But you were going to go play a little basketball. You were just hyped up, and we were just hanging out. We had gone. It was really hot out. We said, "Let's play some basketball." So I took you over to the house, and I said, "You remember what that S, you know, that S on my court stands for?" So we were on the court.
Yeah, savings,
not Syracuse, not Steiner. Savings. And I said, Ray, whatever you make in your paycheck, that's not your money. That's savings. If you're that good, you're gonna rest. You use your off the field money. How'd you end up doing with your money? Were you a saver?
Yeah, honestly, I'm thankful for great financial people. I'm grateful for them. You know, I think I did a great job in saving, but they also did a great job of saving me from myself.
I like that.
You know, because there's a point in time in myself in the league where, you know, I started paying bills when I was 11 years old. You know, I started giving my mom money when I was sweeping up here at the barbershop. It was always ideal for me to start taking some bills. I think that once I got drafted, you know, essentially, because I was the oldest, I don't want to say I didn't have a normal childhood. I didn't do normal things as
More
a kid.
responsibility on you.
Yeah.
Take care of the
So when
family.
I got
Man of the
drafted-
house.
I got drafted. I wanted to be a kid again. From 21 to 23, let's just say 24, I made my financial mistakes. I had the cars. I didn't have a lot of jewelry. I'm not that flashy, but I was very marketable, which helped me out from dipping into what
You waste some money on that.
Yeah, I mean, but my financial advisors actually did a great job of, and I got my second contract of saving me from myself. And I think just the pictures started just become clearer now. I got 2 kids. At the end of the day, I've used this approach. It's everything I do now is always bigger than me. My goal in life is to be able to hand down, not rich, but wealth to them.
Have them have a better life
have them
than
have
you.
a better life than me. And I think that, the structure we have set up now, that'll work out. And obviously, I don't plan on not making a dollar again. I think that, I'm going to, whether it's on or off the field, I'm going to touch something and do something that I think making money is a great thing, but I want to do something I enjoy and maybe set up something for my kids so they can enjoy it.
Are you, as far as you being a dad now, I think actually, the joy is actually you're a great husband, great dad. Like, what kind of dad and husband are you?
Honestly, I guess you say there's no manuals to certain things.
Don't be making me look bad here right now.
Nah, I mean, I think everything that I didn't have in life,
Are you trying to be the dad that you maybe didn't have?
Yeah, I mean, my dad was shot and killed when I was a baby. So I think that just realistically speaking, my stepfather's he's a great person, but I think that, when you got your own kids, like it just, especially me having a girl first, like it's like, okay, you went through everything you went through for God to give you a girl first. So I live by a couple sayings now.
What a personality that kid is, by the way.
Oh man, she's off the chain.
Every bit of your personality and your wife's combined.
Yeah,
she took it all.
She's off the chain. She's like, it's crazy. I mean, I sit back and I say things now to myself. I said, you know what? When I was playing football, I was doing too much of trying to be the man instead of trying to be a man. So
that's fair.
Reverse the roles.
You feel like you're more of a man right now these days? Tell me about when I think about you. I'm trying to track you because I see you sometimes multiple times in a couple of weeks, then I won't see you for a few weeks. And I say, then you come in with the garb. All of a sudden you're Ohio State. All of a sudden you're wearing Alabama. I'm like, first of all, just don't come in with any Georgetown stuff. That we don't allow in our gym. Although now with Ewing, I'm gonna have to let some Georgetown. I'm gonna have to become a little Georgetown fan. I have to admit it because I love Ewing. And I want to see him succeed. But you come in with all this garb and you're like, where you been? I was down in Alabama. I was in Ohio State. What's going on? Because, it seems like to me, like you have a very important message. Are you going to these schools talking to kids or the football teams or all different teams or?
Yeah, mostly football teams. I think that, especially with the hot topic on, domestic violence and stuff, my situation brought a lot of light to it. And,
you think?
Yeah, I'm not naive to that, but I think.
But has it calmed down for you overall? Has it calmed down a little bit at this point?
It's definitely for me. Like it's calmed down because I have to, number one, live with that every day of my life. So if I really, really had to you got to deal with it at a certain point, and then you got to move forward. I think, like I said, I mean, as far as the world, I understand what world we live in. I'm not naive to that. We do live in a world where public opinion matters. I'm not naive to none of that stuff. And I think that I'm man enough to, do what I did everything I can do, accepted responsibility. And I'm also helping people. But I think that.
How so? Talk about the helping people part.
I think that, I know in the world we live in, you can't save everyone. You can't. But the most rewarding thing I get from when I go talk to these colleges, and like I'm not a domestic violence expert, but what I try to do is paint a picture of how my life went. And whether it applies to you or not, I went back to the circumstances on how I got to where I had to get to, how things transpired without making any excuses. And I think that I give them what you call a real message.
Oh, it's got to be real.
I give you a real message.
Has it been received well?
It's been received very well. And the most rewarding thing I get is that was real. I don't get, I get real questions, but listen, the speech I give is not going to make you want to be, a better football player. It's not. I'm just being for real. Like, it's not going to make you want to run through a wall, say, I'm going to be a champion. It's not. It's not that kind of talk. It's that talk that says, I don't care if you play football. I don't care what you do. At the end of the day, if you play sports is going to be this much in your life, very small. It's only a certain amount of years in your life you're going to play professional sports or sports. So at the end of the day, if you put your all into something, you're going to lose something along the way. And I figured out my picture because once that football part was gone, I finally had to deal with me. And I wasn't ready to deal with me because I started to go back onto my childhood. I'm not blaming no one, but it's certain things that, maybe had I got the counseling as a kid, maybe I got the help while I was in high school, maybe I'll start talking and opening up a little bit more. Maybe I'm not in the same situation because I would have had coping mechanisms. I wouldn't have been using football as my getaway. I would have been using basketball as, my rally cry, and I think there's a big message in that. I mean, there's too many people chasing the dream. But what happens when that dream is no longer available?
Literally.
I mean, I spoke to a camp the other day. I told the high school kids. Do you guys know that some of you after high school will never put on a helmet and shoulder pad again? Like, have you ever thought that far? Like 3 years from now, it's over? But I'm not telling you to live in the future, but it's just the reality of that's how fast football can be here. And that's how fast it can go for anyone.
And that's just under normal circumstances.
That's on any circumstance. Any circumstance. I don't care what sport you play. It could be here today. It could be gone tomorrow. I'm a living example of that. But I think I don't wrestle with who I am. I don't wrestle with, how things transpired. I kind of I look at myself as someone that I know 15 years down the road what it's going to look like, and I will be a lot happier 15 years down the road than to be sitting back, still holding on to, Super Bowls and Pro Bowls and trophies.
But on that note, and you should be proud of those things you accomplished.
No, I'm not. Those are great accomplishments.
Pretty cool, but what is the goal for the next 10, 15 years now? Because you get an unbelievable chance to reset too on a positive note, and you've been able to reset. I see you coaching at the high school. You've gone to a lot of colleges now that you're now in demand. Because if I was running a college team, I don't think I could afford not to have you there with so much bad or misinformation for the kids that are playing college football. I can't afford not to have you at my school. Yeah. Any college I've been to, I said, you got to bring Ray Rice in to speak because I don't think the kids really understand. But if you're on a college campus, you see the domestic violence or the insanity. And what more real message can they get than from you? Yeah. Is that part of your plan?
Honestly, I'll go speak. I mean, right now I'm tapping into my high school coaching career. I think I've always been a coach. That's kind of something I've always been.
Because when I call you and I say, Ray, we're doing that, you go, no, I got to be a practice. I'm like, practice? Like you are.
Well, now there's a different side of it. Now it's like, I think I was more of like some of the guys like life coach. I would show up here and there. And I think that I'm practicing something different now. I think that the only way you really get something accomplished even in my own situation, I think that you got to be consistent. Like these kids see me on a consistent basis, I'll get something out of them.
You're loving it.
I'm loving it because they have to see consistency. I think that, on a lot of levels, like, I mean, it's something I can stand true to, and I know you personally, and you stand true to it. But the lack of a dad in America is prevalent, and I think that has a lot to do with the issues with young men.
What I love is even when you're on the top of your game, you would come back and do your Ray Rice camp for the day for New Rochelle every year. And, I see you all during the year, but I never saw you happier than on that day. That's why I knew, I'm like, wow, this guy's got to be with kids the rest of his life and helping. You just love that day. I thought the happiest I've ever seen you when you're running your camp. And lately, when I see you now engaged in the coaching, there's a little extra swagger. A little extra pop to your step. Yeah. I mean, am I reading you wrong or?
Nah, it's different, man. It's different. I think that when you go to the coaching side of it, it's like I'm learning these humbling moments. These humbling moments are like knowing that you don't know it all, but I can bring something to the table. I think I go into every situation like that now. Like I think that I went into this coaching not saying I'm Ray Rice, the Pro Bowler, the three-time Pro Bowler and the Super Bowl champ. I go in there saying, man, wipe me clean. I'm a new slate. I want to learn these X's and O's just as well as these kids learn them. Now, whatever they want to take from my past, that's fine. I'll give it to them. But I think the humble approach is the best approach. I go into every situation saying, I don't know it all. I want to learn. And being with Coach D, starting my career out, under him is just great. So yes, that excitement.
I'm fully committed. I mean, Coach D is coach of New Rochelle. Probably is fully committed to coach one of the great high school coaches that we know.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't get a better coach than that guy. I mean,
he's
all in, all real.
I think the one thing he always said to me was like, "You'll come to me as a boy, you'll leave as a man." I think that message is gonna stick with me forever because, I wish I would have leaned on him a lot more. Like I don't want these kids to miss the real message. Like winning and losing, yeah, everybody wants to win. Don't miss the real message here. Like there's a real message underneath what Coach D is always saying. And I think, I got it. Don't get me wrong, I got it, but I probably got it a little bit too late. And I don't want these kids. My thing is, I've always said, my number one reason for going back is, I believe you can help college kids. I do.
But high school may be more important.
If you really want to make an impact in a kid's life, high school is where to start. Because, to be honest with you, Brandon, let's keep it real. How many people you can change after 6 figures hits their bank account?
It's tough.
Like that's just the reality of it. Like there's not too many people you could change unless they came from a sound family, a sound situation, and got those tools along the way. Man, just being honest with you, you could talk about financial education. You could talk about whatever you want. There's a certain thing that these guys never had when you get to the premier level of sports, and it's called freedom and money. Like in college, like it's so hard to be a student athlete. Why do you think they get in trouble on spring break? Because they get free and they run wild. Well, the NFL magnify that, and that NFL tries to do what they can do. But how much can you tell someone
at that point?
At that point, when they got millions of dollars in their account,
it's tough. And then you end up
losing. What can you change them?
You end up losing a potential really solid.
The only thing that's slowing them down now is that everything's on video. Just being honest with you, social media and all this stuff. It's a 24-hour media.
Is
cycle.
That what brings you? Like I know the Boys and Girls Club, very important. You grew up there, and we just did something there. You did an amazing fundraiser for them. Like, is that what brings you? Also, just hitting those kids as early as you can. Is that what's on your mind?
Yeah, I want to get. Yes, that is purely on my mind. It's on my mind all the time.
Because you really never come to me, and in all the years I know, you never asked me for anything. we have a nice relationship. We do stuff together. You were a great client here when you played at Steiner. Love working with you, signing autographs, doing appearances. We did it all. You never asked me for anything. Brandon, I want you to help me with the Boys and Girls Club. Like, this is important. We got to go fix that place up. And I can see like that. That's like in your soul, like not only to maybe get to the high school, but maybe get to the kids a little younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It started because I feel like the high school kids, to be honest with you, they got Coach D. I'm there, but they got Coach D. I'm going to help them figure out that message. But the Boys and Girls Club, Brandon, it's a special place. I mean, the Boys and Girls Club of America is a special place. I think that, I spent a lot of time at the Boys and Girls Club.
And you did break some records over there, by the way.
Pretty good basketball play at the Boys
I've
and Girls
heard.
Club.
I'm just saying.
But the one thing you realize when you go over there is that not only is it the place for the kids to go do their after school work, all this stuff, all the programs that they're running, it's like their home.
Safe.
It's like their living room. You got to understand, like we go to the Boys and Girls Club, it's like their living room. They get to do things that they don't have at home. They get to run around. It's like a big living room of activities that they're safe at. And you don't have to worry about, is something going to happen there? And I just take that approach. I say, you know what, man? With all this stuff going on, everybody on the phones nowadays, man, I'm glad they still got a Boys and Girls Club. I'm glad.
It's a big deal. I mean,
it's a huge deal, man.
I think it needs to become a bigger deal around the YMCA, Boys and Girls Club.
It does. All that stuff needs to come back, haven. Man. It's a safe haven, and I'll be honest with you, it's a safe haven, and it's something that teaches the kids something. It's not just a place where you send your kids. I mean, the Boys and Girls Club of America have been around for years and years and years and years. Well, it's just, unfortunate for certain people that, I mean, you only see like the kids that really need something to go there. I mean, to be honest with you, I think it's for everyone, but you only see the kids that don't have, that ends up in these Boys and Girls Clubs. I think, start to mix and match a little bit and show that the Boys and Girls Club is open to everyone. Nobody should be afraid to go to a Boys and Girls Club. Like it's safe.
It's a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
Am I reading you wrong? Like, listen, I've seen doing this 30 years. I see a lot of players and listen, it's not like you walked out of the NFL. I mean, it was a pretty abrupt ending, but you don't seem like you have the chip on your shoulder. Like, I would have liked to have played more. Obviously, there's a lot of things going on a lot of different ways. Yeah. You seem like you're on a mission to take maybe what's happened and make it into a positive and find something positive to do with your life. Yeah. You seem like you've reset your mission, or am I reading you wrong, or am I like...
Nah, I mean, I think that, whether I'm on and off the field, I think that the number one thing is that you don't give up. A storybook ending with me would be back on the field, But you know what? It's like one of them things where once you start to understand, I was once in control of that destiny. And because of my own actions, I'm no longer in control of that destiny. Man, you got to get over the hump. And I have no one, I think that, people get paid a lot of money to talk about the incident and do all that stuff. Whatever conclusions they came up with, I'll be honest with you, the conclusion I came up with, so when everybody was talking about it is I didn't do what I did, then I will be playing. I don't care about how the suspension went, this. Like, that's for y'all to talk about. But I just think as a man, you got to get to the point and just take full responsibility of your deal and make not only the best of your situation, but you got to make other people better from your situation. And whatever's going on now is like, I'll be honest with you, I miss the game of football. But what I don't miss is, what goes into, the deciding factors, whether you play or not. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not afraid to say, Brandon, I'm better than a lot of the guys playing right now. I'm not afraid to say that. if you don't think you're the best at what you do, then you're not competitive.
So right now, you can walk on an NFL field and play?
Right now, I can walk on an NFL field and play. Not
I
only
gotta
play.
tell you something, man. Not a man crush or anything, but you look phenomenal. I mean, there ain't a lot of body fat on that body of yours. Like, you look in unbelievable shape. I like to think I contributed to that with my basketball game.
The court definitely helped.
I mean, we have run you into the ground. I mean, we usually have like 2 or 3 guys guarding you, but
I'm very tired after that.
I'm a happy recipient when I play on your team, because I'm usually open on the wing. But here's how I see your situation. I gotta say this, and I think I said this to you one night when we came to the conclusion that maybe you weren't going to play again. And you never know. Maybe you are going to. But I said, something. You played on the highest level of high school. You played the highest level of college. You played on the highest level of pro. You won a Super Bowl. You went to bowl games, state championships, and you're in one piece. You're healthy, and I'm not here to say that what happened wasn't horrible, but because of it, you've now learned to become an unbelievable husband, an unbelievable father. You're healthy. You were smart enough to save your money so you could be a solid citizen on your terms. You know something? And you got the ability to probably stop more kids from possibly making a similar mistake than maybe almost anybody I know, which is critical right now out there, to have you out there talking to schools and talking to people about this stuff. As you put it, as a real story. As much as it's kind of a bummer what happened in every way, sense of the word, and wrong too to some degree, but I look at it as like, wow, I can't believe you've taken this bust and turned it into a boost. You're going to be an unbelievable dad. You're taking your kids to school every day. If you didn't have that happen, you'd probably still be playing, getting more banged up. You're replacing your knees and hips and everything else. I don't know if you'd be the husband you are and have a normal family like you do now. And that's what I'm so proud of you on. Like, when I look at your family, I see you guys together. I'm like, man, that's normal. How many guys playing the NFL can do that? Not. There are some, but not a lot. And I'm like, wow, you put it together. Yeah. You put it together, and I'm proud of you for that. Like, I love that. And you're going to work. You're going to go help a lot of college kids and high school kids avoid possibly a mistake that you made. I love that. Yeah, I think it's a priceless outcome. Really, maybe better than you maybe going back on the field.
I mean, I know I want to help as many people as I can. I think, biblically saying, I mean, they say, one door shuts, others open. I mean, I do believe that. And everybody speaks about second chances, and you hit on something. I think that as long as I didn't give up, you have to create your second chance. And I think that the first second chance I created was rebuilding my family. That's something that is my second chance. I get a chance to be the father, the husband, everything that I didn't have growing up. And I think that, that's the biggest second chance I can ask for.
That's awesome.
So that's one of the things I'm most proud about, in this whole situation, that, I get to wake up, take my daughter to school, like you said, I'm in one piece. And I'll be honest, I don't wrestle with knowing that I'm not playing football because I'm a bad football player.
That's
some
fair.
people wrestle with that.
Yeah.
Some people wrestle. Wow,
no, they didn't put their all into it. Or
whatever it is, I'm not wrestling with that point. I think that, I've gotten to the point where I do understand the severity of what happened.
Cool.
And I'm not wrestling with that. I do understand, that it's an owner's decision, because I know a lot of fans that can say they want me. I'm okay with that, but it comes down to a higher authority. It's not my decision. I know if I'm gonna have a chance, or anyone is gonna have a chance, it's a few people out there, and they are owners. Those are the people that make the decisions. It's not personnel. It's not players. It's not coaching. It's going to be a willful owner to give me or anyone else a chance. That's what happens now. Our society's like in this hot topic of everything, and it's starting to get upstairs now. And whatever that decision is, like I said, for me, I don't wrestle with it no more.
What's your main message now? I mean, first of all, I could see you killing it on the sidelines. So will that stop at high school, or at some point would you coach on a higher level, or do you think coach your own high school team?
No, I haven't really I'll be honest with you, I haven't really set a bar.
Just enjoying what you're doing now.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I just think that the underlying message in high school sports, you can change a lot of lives.
I know your calendar is busy in the fall, but are you starting to get a lot of calls from different colleges? Are you feeling comfortable with that environment when you go and speak?
I actually took a college environment. I'm definitely, comfortable when I go speak. I've actually taken this summer, to spend a lot of time with the kids and family. We went to Bahamas, traveled a lot. Florida. It's really been about them this summer. I took this time, the fall, and be busy with football. I think that it's so funny now. It's really hilarious now because it's like during this time, like like a month earlier, I'll be cranking my body up, getting ready for training camp. And now I'm cranking my body up, getting ready for high school training camp. And my wife's kind of like, okay, like, when do you have this? When do you have that? Because, you got to be thankful. Like, I think, I'll be honest with you, like, anybody out there speak, man, they know, like, it's hard being a player. But, I give more credit to the players' wives and girlfriends.
How so?
Because it's harder to be them.
The time commitments.
They got to sacrifice more. They do got to sacrifice more.
Yeah.
It's hands down. Like, they got to sacrifice more. And I think that, I guess it's safe to say the one thing I didn't understand and appreciate during my time was how much my wife sacrificed. And now, even in the high school realm of things, coaching sports, I'm appreciative of her, of saying, like, allowing me to now be busy again, but I'm getting ready to help kids now. So it's different. Like, when I was playing football, I was only satisfying myself because I needed the football field. I don't need to be in a helmet and shoulder pads to satisfy myself no more because now I can satisfy kids. So what my wife is really telling me is I'm allowing you to help others, but just make sure you help us first. And I think that it's harder to be, a wife of someone that's playing professional sports than it is actually to be the player. Because they got to give up a lot more. What about their dreams and their ambitions?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what about, like, so they supposed to wait for your career's over to go chase something else? Chase their dreams? There's some that do it while they're in and, much success. There's some guys that do it right. I'm not speaking about anything, but I think the majority of them, it's harder to be the wife and girlfriend of someone that's playing professional sports than it is being a player because the player, you on a schedule every day.
Dude, just, this is the longest live Facebook we've ever done. You're unbelievable. I could talk to you for like hours. It's unbelievable.
Well, that's what happens when not only am I with someone that, come on, B, you the man, but, I mean, you've done it right for many years. Not even just, I mean, as a great friend, as a brother, but, just the way this whole establishment is run, like I said, you gave me an opportunity. And I'm just glad now it's bigger than autographs and pictures.
Yeah. When we met in the high school, I knew you had a soul that was interesting to me. I loved your mom and to see your family. Like, I knew it was something special. And there's something special about New Rochelle. I just love the kids in New Rochelle. For me, it's been a blessing to come up here. I was just happy it was so close to my house. I never would end up being here, but it's such a great blend of people in New Row. To me, I just love to come back. Where your head's at, where your heart's at. You've had to face a lot of difficulty, and listen, it's a big mistake to overcome, but you're working it. You're working at it, and the best way to do it is just give back and make it right for others. And I love that I remember you saying that to me really early on. Listen, I'm not going to make any excuses, but I'm going to make it right. I'm going to help as many people as I can. I'm going to bring as much attention to this as I can in a good way to help other people not make the same mistake I made. You said that early on. I was like, wow. Because it really usually takes a long time for somebody to get it, where they almost have to have a gun to their head. They got nothing else. But you were like right on that. I remember, trying to hook you up with Joe Torre and a couple other people. And you have an insatiable appetite. Even when we're playing basketball, even when we're talking about stuff about, 2 games ago, like we're talking about a pick and roll or something. I'm like, this guy is like, but it's fun. It's fun being your friend. It's fun seeing this happen as I knew it would. I had all the confidence in you. I never thought differently. No matter what was going on out there, I've always felt like you were going to work through this and something good would come from it. Never had a doubt.
Always. You know, I mean,
so
a lot of help. I mean, I guess it's safe to say, I mean, I'm thankful for everyone that took a deeper look. You know, I know it wasn't easy, you know, and I'm very apologetic, you know, for everything, but I'm thankful. I'm really thankful at this point in life for, you know, the people who took a deeper look. And you know who you are. There's too many of you to mention, but I think that at least I know, you know, the window of people that I have that's
are your
that's
friends.
Been there.
They're real.
They're family now.
Yeah.
You know, the real people you as much as Brandon, your family, like you know, you took a deeper look, and you know, I think that, you know, I come to you with anything, but I think that, you know, now where we are in life is just a lot more humbling, and I like to say, I mean, it's a different feel now. I don't feel like, I guess it's safe to say, like when you're battle tested and certain things that you know can't rub you no more the wrong way, and I think that that's just gonna allow me to, you know what, help people.
Yeah.
You know, I've had people come to me, ask me for just, I mean, not even on like domestic violence, none, just like, how do you maneuver through day-to-day things? And I'm like, wow, I really can help people now. Like, I mean, I think on the football field, I was satisfying people. I think people love the fact that I beat the odds of making it. But I think
you were an underdog.
I think beating these odds now has nothing to do with making money. I think it's just the odds of, you know, not driving myself insane, you know, not, you know, putting the blame on others. You know, I think just learning to deal with it. Like, and it's just not easy, and it wasn't easy. But genuine support, you know, from yourself, from the right people, you know, makes you not give up, you know. And I think that that's one of the things that I won't do from now, you know, until the lights go out.
Good for you. Hey, it's been great. Good talking with you. Good catching up. You know, I have a lot of people I run into, and they always ask, "What's the story with Ray Rice?" What? And I just figured we'd take a minute here. And I feel like we covered a lot.
Oh.
I wanted people to see the real you, because I love you. I mean, I think you're one of the more incredible people I've ever met, and I wanted people to see that side of you a little bit. And when you come up here and you're talking to my group, they get fired up because they're seeing you fighting. We're all facing adversity. And they're seeing you fighting that, and seeing you fight through that, even from when we do a Christmas thing, or when we're going to help the Boys and Girls Club, whatever it is. They see you fighting the fight, and it's what you should do. Is, you know, because you got to put good. When you put good out in the world, the good comes back. Yeah. And that's what I see. It's good talking with you, man. This is the longest Facebook we've ever done, right? What did you say, Ben? The longest one we have. We can see it talk for hours, and we do sometimes, right? After the games, like where we
catch up. I mean, it's different when you. Well, it's not different. When you're catching up with good people, I mean,
yeah,
doesn't matter. You catch up, you catch up.
All right, man. Good to talk to you, my brother.
Always.
All right.